What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Echo Bay. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, Echo Bay, the launch ramp is just behind this little hill here. We made our way out here to do some fishing once again, but this is going to be part of my Viva Las Vegas series. That means that this is most likely the last time that I'll be fishing here at Echo Bay, and rather than seeing if I can get a specific fish out there, today once again we're going to try for anything and see if we can get any fish out there. Now typically these videos I try and upload them within a week from filming, but over the next coming few weeks, I'm going to change this once again. Rather than focusing on when to catch a specific fish, the next few videos are going to be focusing rather on catching fish on the moment, rather than trying to focus on what type of fish to target when. So with that said, let's get to fishing. Alright, so we have quite a couple of windy days planned ahead. Unfortunately, the weather is not on our side to do some good fishing. That does not mean that when the wind is blowing you cannot catch fish. It's just very bad to film in the wind, but we'll make do for today. Our plan is going to be staying out here for a while, seeing what fish we can get. Now, the first rod we got out here, this is some anchovies and night crawlers, hoping for some channel catfish, maybe some stripers. Second rod, that is the carp setup, some corn and pack bait out into the water, seeing if there's some carp around feeding. And on our second rods, both the wife and I will be throwing around some lures, trying to see if we can find any bass. Now sadly, I just missed the bass. Got hooked on a largemouth bass, but I didn't set the hook properly, so we lost that fish. And some of the guys out on the kayaks saw one catching a little smallmouth bass, so we do know there are still bass around. We'll see if we can get any. So that's the plan, soaking baits, throwing lures. If we have any action, I'll bring you guys to it. Alright guys, finally hooked on another largemouth. This time I did set the hook. Been seeing one or two bigger ones than this one, but happy to get on a fish at least, rather than trusting that hook will stay in his mouth. Rather going to get the net, just try and get him out of the water with the net, make sure we land this fish so we at least can say we did catch something. Alright, and the wife got him for us in the net. Let's quickly have a look at this fish. There we go, got him hooked on the top of the mouth there. Nice and easy release. Decent little largemouth bass. Pale colors, he doesn't have a lot of dark spots on him. But nice little largemouth bass to get us on our first fish for today. Let's get this guy back to the water. Just want to make sure he's strong enough. Kicks off, and there he goes. With the wind and all the mud in the water, it's going to be rather dirty to see the fish swim away, but at least we got him safe back to the water. Alright, so at the moment the wife is manning our bait rods. If anything happens to those rods, she'll be close to those rods in case she needs to land the fish or anything like that, giving me the opportunity to move around and look for fish. Now the first thing you'll notice is I'm throwing a little shaky head. Why am I doing that? Why not throw a little crankbait or some top water? Well, to be honest, if I was here earlier in the morning, top water and crankbaits would do fine. But as it gets later in the day, these fish don't want to be chasing around bait fish anymore. They get more lethargic and slow, and that's why Something like this that's a slow moving thing on the bottom. It's a great way to try and find fish rather than a quick moving little crankbait. So early mornings, yes, it's a good thing to throw around some crankbaits or lipless cranks. But as it gets later in the day, go for something slow down on the bottom. Now, why am I throwing a little shaky head instead of a Ned rig? That's because we have quite a lot of grass, water levels rising again, quite a lot of grass, so it's easy to get snagged on the grass. That's why I'm going for a shaky head. It's more of a little weedless setup. And you'll notice that I'm rather in deep. I'm not all the way in the back of the coves. And the reason for that is simply I think that the fish that we are catching are post-spawn fish. The fish in the coves will be either spawning or protecting their young, and as they get done with protecting the young, they need to feed again, they move out. But rather than just moving from the shallow waters out into deeper waters, they do the same thing they do when coming shallow, just in reverse. What I mean by that is rather than going into the spawning flats, they go sit on secondary points. That is why I'm targeting the secondary points, because I believe these fish are moving from the shallows, sitting on the secondary points, and as it gets warmer, they move into deeper waters, so they can drop into deeper waters. If it's getting too hot, they drop into deeper waters, but they're close enough so they can still get some of the shad if the shad are spawning. That is why I'm spending more time out here on the secondary points rather than in the cove. A few weeks back, I would have gone into the cove trying to find the fish on beds, but now we're looking for the fish moving out into deeper water. Now, so far we haven't had any hits on night crawlers or anchovies, but we did have some movement on the carp setup. But I think we need to rebait those baits. I think they've been stolen, but we are seeing some activity in this little cove. The problem is figuring out what fish it is and with what we need to target them. Especially as it gets later into the day, a lot of fish stop feeding. You kind of have to get these lures or baits in their faces. And our carp setup is going off. Alright guys, so the wife is manning the little carp for us. She got a little fish. Just spoke about getting hits on the carp setup, and then we get the fish.
Hasn't come to the top yet. There we go.
Now these fish love running towards cover. That's why we're using 15-pound test line. You need to force them away from the cover. Otherwise they get wrapped up around it and it's a lot easier to lose the fish. Now this is not the biggest carp, but it is a decent sized one, still putting up a good fight. As we go into summer and the water gets hotter, these fish have a lot more energy in them. Decent little fish, maybe 3 or 4 pounds.
Wil je afsteken? Roze zak niet aan.
Okay. Yeah. And there we go. Carp in the net. Luckily we have the carp mat, so we're quickly going to wet that and just get this carp laid out on the little mat so we can have a better look at him. Just keeping this fish in the water so he has some oxygen while we get everything set up. And there we go, little carp landed. Like I said, I think this is a little 3-pound one. Not the biggest carp, but happy to get a fish at least.
Yep. Oh, beauty.
Lovely golden colors on this carp. I think he's already spawned, that's why he's going around feeding. So let's get him back to the water. Lovely good fish. And there he goes. Good strong kick and he's off. Fish eat, At least we got some fish out there today. Okay, so the automatic hook setter just went off. Just want to make my way over there. Let's see if there's a fish on. So this is the rod with the anchovies and nightcrawler, but like you can see, there's a little bird out there. There's always a chance that it was the bird that grabbed the little anchovy, and it looks like it. The little anchovy is missing, so we're just going to rebait that one, get it back out there. Alright guys, I had to run a bit to get here, so sorry for the breathing, but wife caught a tiny little channel catfish.
Cute guy with pretty sharp spine still.
Yeah, but both the spine and these barbs on the side can be very dangerous. They're also poisonous, so make sure you have a good proper grip on them, so that if they start wiggling like that, they don't spine you.
Yep.
But let's get this guy back to the water. And another good quick kick, and he's off. Another little fish landed. This one was on night crawlers. Decided to take away the little anchovies. That bird kept messing with our baits, so rather just went for night crawlers, and we got a little channel catfish. Alright ladies and gents, it is midday and we caught a couple of fish out there already. Now of course the wife is already beating me again, catching 2 to 1, but that's okay because she granted me the opportunity to walk around and cast around while watching the baits. Now of course there's still a lot of time left to do fishing, but during midday the fishing slows down quite a lot, and normally later in the afternoon it picks up again, so if you wait around till that time you'll get some fish again. But we did manage to get a bunch of fish out there, and that's the thing, Echo Bay has always been pretty good to us. Now I don't know whether it's because far fewer people make the drive out here to do fishing, so these waters might be less pressured, or whether it is the Overton arm, some new fresh water coming in, making it a feeding area, and maybe it's a combination of those things, with deeper waters and some shallow waters making a good place to find some fish. And I think it's places like this that maybe I'll miss at some stage, so Echo Bay will always have a little special place in my heart. Alright, but I think on that note, that's where we're going to call this video. I want to thank you guys for following along. Please do give me a little thumbs up for all the fish we did manage to catch out there. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider doing so, hitting the big red subscribe button. That will turn grey and say subscribed. And feel free to ring the little bell notification next to that if you want to get notified of when I upload videos. Alright, but thank you for watching. Like always, see you next time.